Hi everyone, this is Martha of Eros Coaching, and I am waiting for a friend who is on the way to meet me at Holiday Inn Clarke Quay. I'm at the lobby. So this is the back of the registration area, and that is a little area at the back. Wow, I see lots of people tuning in. I'm just giving you a tour of where I'm at while making this video, so just bear with me as I start talking to you about BDSM. It seems like a lot of people are tuning in to watch this video right now. Just give me a moment. I feel like I need to move because the lighting is so bad and I just look like a monster. Okay, just bear with me. I'm going to talk about what I feel about BDSM in just a moment. A lot of people are tuning in right now, and I'm at Holiday Inn Clarke Quay, and yeah, we have this really tall chairs. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. Okay, just wait. Okay, just wait for me to sit down. Okay, BDSM. So BDSM stands for bondage, domination, domination, submission, sadomasochism. So what it essentially means is the play with pain and pleasure, and the play with power. And people think of BDSM, they immediately think of pain because of 50 Shades of Grey. I want you to know that BDSM is so much more than just about pain. It's actually the play with power. And you don't need to have touch to get an erotic charge to it. So you could be dominating somebody from say this video. You could be dominating somebody from email, from the phone, from anything, electronic devices, I guess, and it can still work. It has less to do with what it's actually doing than what the person is actually feeling inside their body, meaning a charge, like erotic charge, a sexual tension inside their body. And what turns someone on is not what turns the next person on. So if the person who is asking for it is feeling something from it, they get something of it, but the person who they're playing with is not into it, then they're not going to get anything from it. Does this affect the satisfaction level? Yes, but a lot of what is happening sometimes is not really what is being spoken, what is being perceived, and some of what is being perceived is what is being projected, meaning they think that you're turned on, or they assume that they're turned on, or they lie to themselves that they're turned on. So I just talked a little bit about what BDSM is. Do you guys have any questions? You can comment. The lighting is so harsh on my skin, I don't feel that I look good, but anyway, so I'm holding on to the camera, and of course my hand shakes, and again, that's not good. So yes, Deborah, when people talk about BDSM, they always only talk about the pain, and there's a fear around pain. So I just want to talk a little bit about how it's not really pain all the time. It's not pain. It's not really that. It's the pain, and then the absorbing of the pain, the subsiding of the pain, and then the build up again. So it's kind of like a surfing. It's kind of like a wave, and there's this link between pain and pleasure. So because the person likes this thing that is being done, and so there's this age of the pain, and then the easing off of the pain. And when you ease off, the body absorbs the sensation, and then it allows for a new wave of sensation to emerge. So this playing of pain, instead it would be better reframed as playing with sensation. So some people are not really into the pain at all, but they are into the power. They like being dominated by somebody who's powerful, playing masculine or playing strong. Yes, William, do you have a question for me about BDSM? And so this is misconception that in order to do BDSM, you must be dressed up, you must have expensive props, you must have watched 50 Shades of Grey, or you must do what 50 Shades of Grey characters do to do BDSM. Is not true. You can be using very simple things like even a blindfold, and lo and behold, you are in a position of power because you can see and the other person can't, and that can be really a turn on for you. So I'm making this video to talk about my personal take on BDSM. I'm talking about my personal take, as in my personal thoughts about it. Okay, so I'm a sex educator, I'm a sexologist, I'm a sex coach. I help people with sex problems. I'm a relationship counselor. I have a doctorate in human sexuality and masters in counseling, many other trainings and certifications. Learn Tantra, and I teach Tantra as well. I have a book called Orgasmic Yoga that teaches the concept of Tantra. And there is a link between the world of Tantra and the world of BDSM, because actually in both worlds they play with energy. And one is into the sensuality of energy, and the other is into the age of energy, the link, the fine line between pain and pleasure. And for me personally, I would say that my first experience playing with BDSM, playing with power dynamics, being more in charge, has to do with actually the fear of pain. Because I was with partners who were sexually more experienced, and they would do things to me, and I found it really difficult to speak up. I found it difficult to ask for what I wanted. I found it difficult to say stop. And when I did actually say it's too much, stop, or I'm in pain, sometimes they just like stop for like a second, and they think that I'm being difficult, and then they go back to doing exactly what they were doing, causing more pain. So there were many times when I was younger when I would tell a partner, stop, I'm in pain, and they would stop for like a second, like I mentioned, or I would tell them to be softer, and they wouldn't be any softer really. So I would say this like 3 times, and by the 3rd time, I get so angry because I've just told you 3 times to be softer, and you're still not softer, and you're doing exactly what you were doing, and it felt like they were not making an effort. It felt like they didn't care about me. And so when you are in pain, you come up with creative ways of what you can do to take back or to stop the pain. Because my partners were always stimulating me too hard, in my genitals. So I would say, hey, let's play a game. I'm going to explore you. I'm going to touch you. But you can't touch me. And when I do that, and I share this subsequently in later years, how I would be with partners and they would always be touching me, and I felt like I was being attacked. I felt like it was too much rough sensation. It was overwhelming for me. Then I would tell my partners, hey, please stop doing anything, just lie down and let me explore your body. And a lot of people when I shared it with them, this story, they think that I am being domineering, that I like this power thing, that I like being the dominatrix. But actually what started me with wanting to be in a position of more power, of making my partners not move too much, was really because I was scared, because I was in pain. And in order for someone to really relax and really enjoy what is being done to them sexually, they need to first get used to all these new sensations to them if they are new to sex. It can feel very overwhelming, being stimulated, being touched in all your private parts of your body. It can feel overwhelming. So if you're overwhelmed and all these sensations are new, you really want to just feel what you're feeling. And over time, you can get used to it and not be in freak out, not be in reactive mode. It's very important for someone who is new to sex to be comfortable with what is happening first and foremost, before even talking about doing other things, doing too much things, doing advanced things. And so this sense of control is actually a necessary part of sexual exploration and sexual learning. So I kind of stumbled into asserting myself in the bedroom by getting my partners to not do too much. Don't touch me, I touch you. People think I'm being a control freak, but actually I was doing it because everything was too much, too intense, too fast, too overwhelming. And so when we talk about BDSM, we always look at BDSM as if it's a negative thing, but actually people fail to acknowledge the positive aspects of BDSM, creating safety so that you can play in that boundaries, create safety for yourself. So don't think of BDSM only as a bad thing. I'm talking about the power aspect, the power dynamics between the two. And a lot of times, in my personal experience, it was very difficult for me to speak up in the bedroom because for so long in my life, I was just told to shut up and look pretty and not rock the boat and just be pleasant. And it was really difficult to assert myself. And so that was really useful for me. So when people ask me things like, oh, do you like spanking? Do you like rope? Do you like to tie people up? Do you like to be tied? These are all different aspects of BDSM. I get it. And I want to share that when I was young, I was caned. And a lot of times I was caned when I felt that I didn't do anything wrong. It was just maybe my mom not having a good day and just taking it out on us, that the discipline was not consistent. Sometimes we'd do something really, really small and it would trigger a really big reaction, like the threat of being caned. And the injustice of it, was there. And so I grew up with my sister. My sister is about 1 year younger than me, about 1.5 years younger than me. And my mom would take out the cane and my sister would say, don't run, don't cry, just stand there and let yourself be beaten and it'll be faster and just get it over with. And if you jump around and you scream, and you will just make her more angry, you just aggravate my mom even further. I couldn't help it. I'm the older one. I couldn't help screaming and yelling and crying, and I didn't understand why my sister could put up with all the caning and I could not. I could not put up with the caning. I could not. I would, both of us would, me and my sister, after being caned, we would look at the cane marks and we would cry. Especially me. I would look at the cane marks and I would, besides the marks, it's almost like you've been caned. So there's the pain of the cane and then there's the marks of the canes that are visible. But I was kind of like re-traumatizing myself by looking at the marks repeatedly and crying because of the marks. And I think because of that, some people can get really turned on because it just happened that when they were caned or spanked, there was an erotic moment for them where they felt alive, they felt turned on, and it became their what you call a peak erotic experience. It's just kind of one of those things that happen when you're young and you're new to being in this body, and they got a hard on, or they got turned on. But for me, I was traumatized. I was extremely traumatized by being caned, extremely. So much so that I didn't notice, right? I didn't notice. I could feel the cane on me before being caned. And that was very, very strange, very bizarre. So my mom didn't even need to cane me for me to be traumatized. You just need to tell me you're going to cane me, and I started to feel the pain of the cane on me. And so the impact on me and the impact on my sister was different. My sister would stand still and be caned, and I could not. I would be weeping buckets before I was even touched. And I didn't know this then, but this is one of the things that probably defines me as a highly sensitive person. I'm a very tactile person. I'm very sensitive. And what subsequently happened was, when I was introduced to the world of BDSM, being a sex educator, these are all the other things that people are into sexually. Not just the sensuous part of sex, but the power part of sex I get. And then the pain part of sex, which I can appreciate. I can appreciate this, but personally, I cannot stand it. I can play a little bit with pain, I can, but I cannot personally put up with marks on my body. So there were many times I have been in a bondage class. It may involve ropes usually, and I would be a model, and I would attend a rope class. I wanted to really learn the intricacies of playing with rope, and I appreciate this. I understand this sense of when you are tied up in ropes, you feel trapped, and it's kind of this feeling of being held and letting go of your power, and that sense of being taken care of can feel really comforting for some people. And some people can feel this whole victim thing, like, oh, you have me, oh, I'm helpless, do what you want with me. That can be fun, I get that. But I'm just saying that anything for me personally that involves leaving a mark on me, ropes, spanking, scratching, biting, I don't really like it. I kind of like the biting, actually. I like my partner biting me at peak experiences. I get that. But for the most part, all the other sexual things that involves leaving a mark, I don't like it at all. And this is very much linked to the story that I just told you about my childhood, when I was caned and I would feel traumatized in my body. I would look at the cane marks and I would cry. This was not a good memory. And so even now, I don't like it. Back then, I didn't like it because I didn't have a power over my body. I was caned and I didn't want it, and I said I didn't want it, and I was still caned anyway. And it was just so violating, so traumatic for me. Now, I have a choice, and I choose not to. And it's not something I enjoy, and it's something that I've tried, and people have said, do you want to work through it? No, I don't. I don't see it as important, and maybe there will come a point in my life where I would. So I was here alone, and now I'm not. I don't understand some people. So what turns on someone is different from another person. I begin to mention that it has to do with your peak sexual experience, what you may stumble upon sexually when you are younger, and it was something nice and you associate it with fun and play, whereas the way I was introduced to canes and pain was extremely traumatic. So any form of marks is really negative for me. But intellectually, as a sex educator, I get it. I get that it works for some people. I get that it's important for some people to explore. For me personally, no. I much rather be a giver than be a receiver, and that is not even that it's going to give me some kind of a sexual charge. It's not going to give me a sexual charge, but it's something that I would do to please my partner, to allow them to have the fun that they have. So in a relationship, you may have a partner who's into something that you're not, and it's okay if you're not into it, but you're open-minded enough to give. But it would be good if they know that you don't really get a charge out of it. You do it because you love them, and you see it in a different way. When we can get clearer in our communication, and we know each other's needs, wants, desires more clearly, that's when we can go deeper into what else is there. And there may come a time when I have tried many things, and I may be happy to go back to revisit this play with pain, specifically with spanking, caning, or maybe even with ropes. Yeah, so this is Martha of Eros Coaching, just sharing a little bit about BDSM. And remember, BDSM, as I mentioned just now, is not just about pain. It's actually about playing with sensation and energy. And also, it's not just about pain. It's also about play with power. And so it's a lot more fascinating and complicated than we think. And actually, a lot of us are doing it without even realizing it, because we're not aware of what it really means. And it's not as scary as people think. And it can actually bring a lot of additional things into your life if you get educated about it. What you like personally will be different from what your partner likes, and that's okay. We get so hung up about my way or the highway, and we fail to see things from our partner's perspective. So yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video on that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.